So welcome back, guys. Let's look at more interesting aspect of Microsoft Power BI. So let's get started by getting our data into this platform. Okay. So once we have our data ready, let's load everything. Actually, let's transform them. Alright, so now that we have this one, we're going to look at something we call conditional columns. Okay, alright, so let's go ahead and then work with the cells. We're not really interested in this section and this section for this particular tutorial. Okay, let's look at the cells. Now when we talk about conditional columns, basically what we mean is we want to perform a particular function based on certain conditions. Okay, basically that is what it means. Now for instance, you can look at it this way. If I say you are above 18 years, that means you can drive. But if you are below 18 years, you cannot drive. That is a condition. Okay, so the condition is that if and only if you are above 18 years, that means that you can drive. Otherwise you cannot drive. Okay, so we are going to do something similar to that over here using Microsoft Power BI. Okay, now let's go ahead and then remove these columns. Okay, I think let's remove these two columns, and we don't want this, we don't want this, we don't want this either. Okay, we don't want this one too. Okay, so let's leave this one and then this one over here. So as we said earlier on, we don't want to be using the transform tab. Let's go to the add column tab. Now you can see something called conditional column over here, and that is where the magic is going to happen. So let's go ahead and click on it. So when it's downloading, you are going to see something like this. Now the first thing you are going to see over here is the text box, and the text box is asking you new column name. You are already aware that we are in add column, so whatever operation we are going to run over here is going to add another column. So this section is asking you to give the column a name. Okay, so you can name it anyhow you want. Say let me call this average, just anything. You can name it anyhow you want. Okay, all right, so we are going to look at something. If now this is going to select all the columns, assuming we had date, unit, we had other columns over here, like they are all going to appear here. But given that we have just this two columns, date and unit, that's why we're seeing this. So let me select unit. Now this is this reads as if unit, then we are going to check the operator. By default it is equal. Okay, now we have a bunch of options over here. Now I'm going to select a greater than. Okay, then I'm going to select, we can enter a particular value, or we select a particular column. Now we'll get back to this one later on, but then let's use this one. So if it is greater than 100, now what do we want to do? We want to say above average. Now this above average is not based on any calculation. We just want to look at how we can use the conditional column, because we basically don't know the average of this particular column. Now let's go and add an else if statement over here. Let me use this and then say if it is less than probably let me delete this and move straight to the else. Let me say below average. All right, okay, now let's get back to this one to get a full understanding of it. Now this particular section is saying that if the unit column, like this particular column, the values over here, the values in there, so it will be looping through each of these rows to say if this 145 is greater than 100, then it is going to display above average, but if it is less than 100, it is going to display below average. Now you can think about a particular problem we can encounter over here, then try solving it. And that particular problem is, what if the value is equal to 100? So you can add another clause over here to push the condition in here. You can add more clauses. Okay, so for now I'll leave that to you as an assignment to work around. Okay, so this is saying if the unit column, the values of each of the values over here, so when it gets here, I will check if 91 is greater than 100. If it is greater than 100, it is going to okay, so if the unit over here is greater than 100, then we are going to display this particular thing here, otherwise we are going to display this. So let's go ahead and hit OK, and there we go. We can see look at this is 99 and it is below the 100, so it displays below average and that. Okay, so that is basically how we can work around conditional columns. I'll leave the rest for you to explore. Thank you. See you in the next video tutorial.